Chapter 26, Living Together. So, Sakura-chan, how was your date with Eran-kun yesterday? Chiharu, Nako, and Rika demanded at once at school the next day. Oi, it wasn't a date. Sakura, sweat dropped. What movie did you watch? Was it romantic? She sweat dropped even more. What was the movie about again? You girls are so silly, Syaoran announced, brushing past them. It's just a stupid date. So, then why are you butting in? That's none of your business. Ugh, how dumb. Why'd you follow me to the theater then? Sakura shouted. She felt hurt that Syaoran acted so uncaring about her feelings. Why would I follow you? What's so special about you anyway? You're clumsy, a late sleeper, and scared of everything. As Syaoran said this, he felt reproachful of himself. Wait, I didn't mean that. I don't care. It's true. I don't need you telling that to my face. I hate you, Lee Syaoran. Get out of my sight. Sakura turned around in fury. Ooh, a lover's quarrel, Rika commented with an amused smile. The teacher interrupted. Today, we're going to clean out the old theater for Seijo Junior High's production. Ugh, everyone groaned. Come on, students, let's be efficient. The old theater was a mess. 20 years' worth of dust was piled up. The stage had wood splinters on it. The seats were a mess. The curtains were rags. Old boxes and props were piled up. It seemed impossible to clean up. Sakura's eyes watered from the dust. Her arms were aching from brooming the floor and moving heavy loads. From behind her, Syaoran walked up and helped her heave out a heavy box. Then he began. Hey, Briskly, Sakura turned in another direction to dust the floor. Sighing, Syaoran moved away. Holding up a box, Rika complained, this is so heavy. Oops, I dropped it. What shall I do? Quietly, Syaoran picked up the contents and heaved it up. I'll take it. Go help with the brooming. Thank you, Syaoran, Rika squealed, clasping her hands together. Snap! To Sakura's surprise, her broom snapped into two from the pressure she had applied on it. Sakura-chan, your broom! Tomeo exclaimed. I'll go outside for a breath of air. We have PE next, right? The dust in the auditorium is killing me, Sakura said, wiping her forehead with the back of her sleeve. I'll go too. The two girls exited the auditorium. Outside, the sun was shining. Then they blinked. Was something shining in the sky? Soon, they realized that it was two white doves carrying a bag with their beaks. Sakura reached out her hands as the doves dropped the parcel down. Oi, what is this? Tentatively, she looked into the bag. The doves fluttered around her head, then flew off until they faded into tiny specks in the distant blue sky. Inside, there was a small chest. On one side was the emblem of the magician's top hat facing upwards, with the circle representing the moon behind it. That's the kind of magician's symbol, Tomeo said. Wait, here's a letter attached to it. To KS and LS. Here's a little present for me. Don't worry, I'm safe away from Japan and won't bother you for a while. And it's not a bomb or anything. Open it together. It'll be useful. Oh, keep the 5-4 treasure safe. KM. Well, I guess you'll have to open it with Syaoran-kun, Tomeo commented. She looked dazzled. And I'll videotape it. But Sakura cast her forest green eyes down. Well, I told him I hate him, and I've sort of been avoiding him. I can't believe I thought he was nice. Watch out for the ball! Someone from the field shouted. Sakura swerved around to see a soccer ball fly out of the field in their direction. Ever since that ball hit her on the face last winter, she had the slightest bit of paranoia. To her surprise, the ball stopped a few centimeters away from her head and dropped down to her feet. She blinked. Syaoran was washing his hands at the fountain next to the field. When she gazed in his direction, he looked away, kicking the ball back to the boys playing soccer. She walked over to him, gathering some nerves. Shaoran-kun, Sakura asked, thanks for stopping the ball from hitting my face. It was you, wasn't it? Eh? He asked gruffly, wiping his water-soaked head from his sleeves. Remembering the winter PE day, when she was hit by the soccer ball, she asked, and it was you who helped me up and asked me if I was all right last winter, when I was hit by the soccer ball, wasn't it? You came to the infirmary and healed my bruised eye afterwards. Turning off the water spout, he asked, how'd you know? I remembered a forest green glowing aura. Sakura handed him a towel as he tried to shake the water off his face. The same as the one that you healed my sprained ankle. Ears turning red, he said, thanks. Let me guess, you have something to say to me? Tomeo, Sakura, and Syaoran gathered in the quiet music room. The Kaido magician sent this? Syaoran asked, indicating to the chest. He held it up and observed it in all directions. Doesn't seem to be toxic. How will you open it? Sakura and I already tried, but we can't find a lock, Tomeo said. Stand back. Syaoran slapped down Nofeda from the chest and slammed his sword on it. There was a zapping of thunder, and the chest lid opened. Wait, what's this? Sakura took out an old, rolled parchment from the chest. Wait, this is the 5-4 scroll! The 5-4 scroll? You lost it ages ago, I remember. Wait, here's a note attached to it. Tomeo observed the scroll in wonder. Something I picked up in Japan. Thought you might want to KM. Kaido Magician is one amazing thief. Here's something else. Sakura drew out a faded piece of paper with lines and scribbles all over it. It looks like a map of some sort. No, it looks like a blueprint of a building. See all the straight lines and labeling? It's showing the layout of a building. Wait, this is the Seiji Junior High Old Theater, Syaoran pointed out. I wonder why he included this. Wait, there's something else. Sakura reached her left hand into the chest. Something clicked around her slender left wrist. Wait? She drew out her hand. One side of a slender handcuff was clasped itself onto her wrist. The other end dangled from the chain connecting the two cuffs. What's that? Syaoran reached out his right hand to see it. Click! The other cuff had fastened itself around Syaoran's right wrist. It took a second to realize what had happened. Then they shouted aghast, Don't tell me we're handcuffed to each other! What an interesting thing to videotape, Tomeo commented. Soon they found that there were no keyholes of any sort, nor any means to unfasten the handcuff. Fiery! Melt the handcuff off, Sakura commanded. Ouch! The metal conducted the heat, scalding both of their wrists. They tried freezing it, then hammering it off, exploding the chain, connecting the cuffs with dynamite, slicing through the chain with a sword, and literal force. Nothing worked. Syaoran and Sakura panted with effort, glaring at each other as if it was their fault. Great. Now I'm stuck to you with no evident signs of freeing myself from this handcuff, Sakura stated, trying to yank it off her wrist. I'm not that crazy about it either, but we have no choice. Good thing we have an hour till school's over. Make the chain invisible. We have our next class together, so we'll just have to stay next to each other. Fine. Invisible. Make the handcuffs invisible. Sakura stood up and walked out of the music room. Syaoran, who wasn't prepared, fell head over heels on a stool. Hurry! She said, tugging her left hand. Wait! Syaoran groaned, feeling his right arm being pulled. During music class, Erika demanded, Sakura, why are you sitting so close to Syaoran? Move! Then Erika shoved in right between Sakura and Syaoran. Sakura tried to move away, resulted in pulling Syaoran's arm, making him tumble off his chair. He secretly glared at her, mouthing the words, Watch what you're doing. Shrugging, Sakura replied, Sorry. The rest of school was miserable for both of them. Finally, school was over. Sakura sighed in relief, glaring at her left wrist, handcuffed to Syaoran's right wrist. So, what shall we do now? Syaoran asked. I guess we both better skip our afternoon activities. Let's go to a locksmith, Sakura suggested. We can't. How will we explain the situation to anyone? If we do, either Kaido Magician would get in trouble or leak out unnecessary information. Then let's contact the Kaido Magician. We don't have a clue where he is. Then let's just give up, Sakura concluded. Comically, she commented, it'll be like we're Siamese twins. We'll always be stuck to each other and do everything together, go everywhere with each other. I'm sure there's a way to get this thing off. Let's just go home for now. Syaoran walked in one direction while Sakura headed in another. The pulling effect resulted in both of them falling flat on their backs. I thought you said we were going home, Sakura said as they walked through the streets. I have to grocery shop today. There's nothing to eat at home. Syaoran replied. Then we can go to my house. Oh, wait a minute. I ate up everything this morning. Well, we better not be seen by anyone. I agree. We don't want people getting the wrong idea. They entered the grocery store. The first person they saw was Chiharu shopping with her mother. Quick, let's hide behind the fruit stand, Sakura whispered. Bending down, they crawled to the other side of the store. What are you doing, Sakura-chan? Rika asked, bending over to see the crouching Sakura. I could have sworn that I saw Lee-kun. Maybe I'm mistaken. Hui! Sakura's hair stood on its end, and she shoved Syaoran behind a cart. I dropped something. I have to go this way. See you later, Rika-chan. After Rika left on her own way, rather confused, Syaoran grumbled, You banged my head with the cart. Sorry. Okay, so we need vegetables, fruits, fish. Look, there's Yamasaki-kun buying chips, Sakura exclaimed in despair. They leaped behind the cereal line. As they were about to sigh in relief, Chiharu, Rika, and Takashi walked towards them, waving. I thought I saw you two enter, Chiharu commented. What are you guys doing? We just met each other while grocery shopping, Sakura said, hoping the invisible card worked to make the handcuffs invisible. Lee-kun, you do groceries? What a dedicated guy, Rika asked admiringly. Yamasaki-kun's here too, Syaoran protested. I'm only here to buy chips, Takashi replied, smiling. Chips originated when people only had breads. They decided that breads were too soft and... seeing you two stand right next to each other with the grocery cart makes you two look like a married couple, Chiharu commented, flipping back one of her braided pigtails. What are you talking about? Sakura and Syaoran exclaimed. Laughing, Rika explained. It's no offense, but ever since Lee-kun first came to Tomato 5 years ago, I thought you two were always together. It's nice. Well, we'll see you guys around, Takashi said, and the three friends walked off. Collapsing with relief to see them go, Syaoran said, do you want to just forget this and go home and order pizza? Best idea so far, Sakura replied. It was late at night in Syaoran's apartment, and neither of them had figured out how to take the handcuffs off. Finally, they had given up and were working on their homework, sitting next to each other on the living room table. Syaoran was clumsily writing with his left hand, since his right hand was attached to the cuff. Meanwhile, Sakura was twisting the ends of her ponytail, trying to solve a math equation. She had been scolded for leaving her homework at home by the math sensei. This whole section doesn't make sense. How can Syaoran already be finished? I'm not even halfway done. Scribbling out her answer, she took out a clean sheet of paper. Glancing over Sakura's shoulder, Syaoran said, pointing to a math problem. You only transferred this part wrong. See? Everything else is fine. Just change this into a positive number. In this question, you just have to simplify the answer. You have the basic concept right, just little mistakes here and there. Oh. Sakura looked over her problems and suddenly everything seemed clear. Thank you. I get it now. No problem. You can help me with Japanese homework afterwards. Syaoran smiled slightly. Then he continued hesitantly. Hey, I'm sorry about this morning. I didn't mean to call you all that mean stuff. Huh? Sakura looked up at those luminous ocean green orbs. Had Syaoran apologized to her? Slowly, she smiled. It's okay. I didn't mind. Not that much. For a moment, there seemed to be an enigma between those two in the quiet evening in the apartment room. Just then, Sakura's hand phone rang. It was Tomeo. So, Sakura-chan, how are you? Did you find a way to take the handcuffs off? Tomeo asked. You're at Syaoran-kun's apartment right now, right? Alone, with just the two of you? Sweat dropping, Sakura asked, What are you implying? Oh, nothing. If you can't take it off, you're going to be stuck with each other while doing everything. Well, good night. After she hung up, Syaoran asked, Was that Tomeo? Yeah. Sakura's ears turned red. There's nothing wrong with me being here. It's not like I have a choice yet. Oni-chan would kill me if he knew where I was. Heaving a sigh, Sakura returned to her math problems, which she had been solving for the past 3 hours. By 11, Syaoran had set aside his work and paid full attention to helping her out. You're really working hard, Syaoran commented after they had finished. It's because the math sensei said if I don't get a passing grade on the next test, he'll fail me in the course, and then I won't be able to enter high school. Oh, I think I'm so stupid, Sakura said distressfully. You're not stupid. It's just because you don't have enough time to study because of all the card captor stuff. You're a really intelligent individual. And I mean, not only in academics, but on the whole. Really? Sakura looked up gratefully. The next morning, Sakura and Syaoran were sprawled on opposite ends of the couch, half falling off. While studying the previous night, they had fallen asleep on the spot. Groggily, Sakura blinked at the sunlight from the window showering over her face. Then she bolted awake, rolling off the couch to the floor. This caused Syaoran to fall off the couch as well. What the... Syaoran blinked while fingering the bruise forming on his right wrist from all the yanking. Why am I on the floor? Rubbing her eyes, Sakura gazed around her unfamiliar surroundings. Then she realized that it was Syaoran's living room. Jumping, she screeched, What am I doing here? Both of them tried to move away from each other, which was impossible. Then they remembered that they were handcuffed to each other because of the stupid Kaido magician. Ew! I fell asleep on the same couch as you. Sakura glared at Syaoran. It's not like we had a choice. Syaoran replied, What time is it? Glancing at his watch, his eyes bulged. We're late for school again! Together, they burst out of the apartment, full speed. They had slept in their school uniforms. You mean you still couldn't take the handcuffs off? Tomeo exclaimed during school as they resumed cleaning out the old theater. We tried our best. Sakura hung her head down. It's a good thing Syaoran-kun and I have the same classes. We're stuck with each other for good. The old auditorium was already gaining some of its old splendor as the old curtains were replaced with new, deep red velvet ones. The stage floor was polished with new wood, and the new carpets and seats were put on it. Wow, I think this must have been a very nice theater 20 years ago, Sakura commented as she swerved around, examining the students' hard work. It was, Nako replied. 22 years ago was the grandest school production ever, The Phantom of the Opera. You know about it? Tomeo asked. Of course, anything with ghosts fascinates me, Nako replied, matter of fact, pushing up her glasses and preparing for her story. But it's all a story, Chiharu said. Nako said eerily, everyone thought it was a story until... Flashback to 22 years ago. Congratulations, Nadesco! You got the heroine's part of Christine Daae, Sonome exclaimed. Thanks. Nadesco smiled. Never in her wildest dreams did she think she would get the part. It was wonderful. Then the accidents began. First, it began as a simple threat notes to various members of the cast, telling them to quit the show. Most people concluded it was a prank from one of their fellow students. Then, strange things began to happen, such as the prop sets falling down, the scenery backdrop almost crashing down on the students, lights off, and even a small fire. Yet, these were all manageable, and most people, including the teacher, brushed it off as unfortunate accidents. Finally, the biggest accident of all occurred. During dress rehearsal, the prop chandelier crashed down from the ceiling during the act with Raoul and Christine. Quickly, a student playing first violin in the orchestra jumped up from his seat to save the two. Nako continued, but it was too late to save the student playing Raoul. He was crushed under the impact of the prop chandelier and was carried away in an ambulance. People began saying that the play was cursed. In the real story of the Phantom of the Opera, someone was killed under the chandelier too. For the performance, Raoul's understudy took place, and they managed to pull off the performance fine. What happened to the student playing Raoul? Sakura asked. He died, Nako stated, and that's why they closed down this theater. The students' administrative was convinced that either there was a phantom in this theater or the dead student would come and haunt it. Whee! Sakura shrieked. Ghost? That can't be true, Syaoran stated, not believing for once. Think what you want to, Nako said, turning star-eyed. She exclaimed, but I think it's terribly fascinating to perform a musical in a haunted theater. There's even a basement. Think about it. In the real story, the Phantom's reign was the underground dungeons. Tomeo whispered to Sakura, let's see if there's a basement in the blueprint of the building that the Kaido magician sent us. Together, along with Syaoran, they went backstage and examined the mapping of the old theater. There were many nooks and crannies in it, as well as a locked door to the basement floor. I don't really want to be in this performance anymore, Sakura said, putting back the blueprint in her bag. Her fingers brushed against something. The 5-4 scroll. She took it out and unrolled the parchment. It's been such a long time since I saw it. I wonder how the Kaido magician knows what this is. As she opened the scroll, a glowing light and something materialized in front of them. It was a white stuffed animal-looking thing with bunny ears and tiny wings on its back. "Oh, how cute!" Sakura exclaimed, clapping her hands. "Oh, another stuffed animal?" Syaoran asked, puzzled. "Run! I'm the great Moonstone-sama!" the bunny-looking stuffed doll replied. "What's that?" Sakura asked. "You mean you don't remember? I was the great guardian of the 5-4 scroll. I looked after your mother and the boy's father also," Moonstone replied importantly. "Anyway, I can't stay that long. I don't have enough powers, but it's a real privilege to meet their children. A great joy." "Wait, can you tell me how to get this handcuff thing off?" Sakura pleaded. Eyeing it, Moonstone replied, "That's none of my business. Oh, wait! I remember. Yes, that must be the one. See? The initials MM are carved on it." Looking closely at the handcuff, Sakura found that MM was engraved on the metal. "What is it?" "Mizuki Miara, Miho's mother's initials." Then Moonstone related the story. Flashback. Flipping back her long auburn hair, Mizuki Miara stated, "I don't like how you always hang around Lee-san." She held up a handcuff. It was right before the final evening performance of the Phantom of the Opera. "Hoi!" Nadesco's sweat dropped, adjusting her white, lacy, Victorian-style costume dress. "I want to be Christine Daae. I am your understudy anyway. If you're gone, I can take the lead." Plus, Lee Ryurin is first violin in the Seiju High Orchestra for the production of Phantom of the Opera. So, he'll watch me on stage, and he'll fall in love with me and my superior talent. You'll have to stay here. Grabbing Nadesco's wrist, she snapped a cuff on it. Nadesco tried to jump away. Come here! I have to get the other side! Miara chased Nadesco around the dressing room. What is going on? Ryurin asked, stepping into the room. In one hand was his violin, and he was looking handsome in his black suit. What are you doing, Mizuki-san? Huh? Miara's sweat dropped. Then she leapt for Nadesco. Come here! I'm going to handcuff you and be Christine! Instead of handcuffing both of Nadesco's wrists, Miara accidentally snapped one cuff on her wrist. Ah! I handcuffed myself, do you? Oh, what will I do? I won't be able to go on stage. Then you'd better unlock it. Where's the key? Ryurin asked patiently. Half in tears, Miara answered. I enchanted this handcuff and then I threw the special key down the theater basement. What? Anyway, they managed to get the handcuff off before the performance, Moonstone informed them. They just blasted it off with their powers combined, but I don't think that'll be possible with just you two. The best option is to just find the key in the theater basement. Well, bye now. My power's fading. Oh, one thing to advise. Stay together if you can. It'll be better for you when you face danger. Don't laugh my words off. I'm serious. If you have to keep that handcuff on you to stay together, keep it. The white creature faded back into the scroll. Wait, Mooney-chan, come back! Sakura called out. Well, looks like you two have no choice but to go down there. Tomeo shrugged. Wait, what if there's the ghost of the student in there? Sakura said. That's only a stupid school ghost story. It's probably made up. Syaoran said. Hesitantly, they unlocked the door to the basement and walked down. Tomeo stayed at the top to stand and guard, much to her disappointment. She couldn't videotape there. It's dark in here, Sakura commented as they came to the bottom of the steep stairs. Syaoran held out his fire-lit ofueda paper. It's creepy, too. Then she saw a white thing. Her voice echoed throughout the hollow basement of the old theater. It's only old props, Syaoran said, pointing it out. He bent over an old box. Wow, look. This must have been your mother's costume. See this dress? It's the one she wore in the picture. That's right. And there's the Phantom's costume. And that's the chandelier. All the old props are here. Sakura and Syaoran examined the piles of old supplies in awe. Then Sakura pointed out. See this music box? It comes out in the play, too. She lifted the lid up. Music no longer came out of it since it was over 20 years old, yet she found something even better. The key! It must be the one. It has the initials MM on it. Really? Well, hurry! Let's go up again and unlock this handcuff. It's too dark in here to find the keyhole anyway. Syaoran remembered how they could find no keyholes in the cuffs. Good idea. This place is kind of creepy. That white mask looks like it's floating in the air. Sakura shrieked back. She could swear that mask moved. Let's get out, quick! She broke out, running. Syaoran tripped over the dusty old boxes. Wait! Move together! At that moment, he ducked just in time to escape a heavy figure being thrown at his head. He turned around. The bone-white mask leered at him mid-air. The Phantom. Key that hides the power of the stars. Show your true self to me. I, Sakura, command you under contract. Release. Fiery! Sakura slammed the card to the tip of her staff. Eerily, the mask caught fire and clattered to the floor. Wiping sweat off her brow, Sakura commented, Phew! Well, that was easier than I thought. Spirit of dark forces, I, Sakura, command you. Return to new shape of contract. Sakura, card! At first, a flickering glimmer formed around the mask. Then, it dissolved into the musty air. What? It's not working? Slowly, the mask rose again and took an indefinite shape of a person. Run! Sakura shouted, clambering up the creaking basement stair with Syaoran. Oh, what shall I do if it doesn't turn into a card? They reached the door and burst outside to the ground floor of the theater. Suddenly, the phantom stopped chasing them and sank back into the basement. Huh? How come it stopped chasing us? Sakura asked. Tomeo, who had been waiting for them, pointed to a segment in the scroll, reading it aloud. Lee, Ryo-ren, and Amiya Nadesco sealed the dark force, the Phantom, to the basement of the old Seiju Junior High Theater, which regulates the Phantom to stay within its boundaries. However, when the Phantom breaks the seal, it will be able to roam as it pleases. Oh, so that Phantom can't get out of the basement. Oh, that's a relief. Sakura sighed in relief. With the key, she held out her wrist, looking for a keyhole in the cuff. Miraculously, a hole suddenly appeared as she held the key up. She unlocked herself and Syaoran, and the handcuff clattered to the floor. That was a relief. Well, I guess we're free of each other now, Sakura said, smiling. Yeah, even though this thing is off, that stuffed animal said we should stay together, and there's lots of dangerous stuff out there and everything. Well, you can stay at my house for a while, until your family comes back. That'll be better when new forces appear and everything. Syaoran turned red, wondering what in the world he was blabbering about. Okay, thanks. Sakura grinned happily. I really don't like staying home alone anyway. So this is how rival card captors officially began living together like a married couple, Tomeo announced into her Sony V8. What are you talking about? Sakura and Syaoran protested.